Welcome back to the SME Insights at the SME Mission Critical Workforce 2030 exhibit. I'm Denise Cowburn with Tooling U-SME, Senior Client Executive, and I'd like to introduce to you Becca O'Toole, Partnership Development Director with Cengage. And this conversation is going to bring you insight on our partnership with Cengage and some amazing things they're doing. Becca, welcome. As we know, there are some significant workforce challenges facing us. By 2033, right now the studies are saying 3.9 million employees are needed in manufacturing. And so we'd love to hear more about this partnership and how we're approaching this.
Yeah. Well, we're really grateful and thankful for the partnership with SME. We have been longtime partners, actually, in the adult learning space for the skilled trades, for advanced manufacturing. And in the past couple of years, we thought, how can we kind of continue to iterate on this partnership and really address some of the critical skills gaps, both in the healthcare space, which we support and has supported for a long time, but also, creating new talent in the skilled trades and advanced manufacturing spaces in this partnership with not only SME, but the Tooling U program as well.
Great. Yes, you mentioned that you did start with the healthcare industry, and now you've kind of migrated over into the manufacturing space. Can you tell us a little bit about how this Ready to Hire program will help prepare people maybe who don't have experience in manufacturing?
One of the things we hear all the time is that there's just not enough people that want to work, right? And at Cengage, we fundamentally disagree with that. We know that, through our student outreach channels, through our educational partnerships with over 1,800 academic institutions and workforce development organizations, the people are there, but there's tons of barriers to access the skills needed and frankly to know that these opportunities exist. So the Ready to Hire program was born out of the concept that if we remove some of these cost barriers, physical barriers to accessing the education needed to enter the workforce, we could tap an entirely new population. So we did launch in the medical space, filling entry-level allied health roles. I think everybody knows nurse and doctor, right? But a lot of people don't know the critical roles that are required in a health setting to support, patient care. And so what we've been doing in that space, and now we're transitioning into the manufacturing and skilled trade spaces, is really working directly with employers, understanding where their critical gaps are, and then actually going out to market and recruiting and creating new talent through our training programs. So front-loading a lot of those critical trainings, creating access for free for the students through a program that is funded by the employers to create new talent specifically for those organizations. And so it's really creating a lot more ownership on the employers to help do workforce development initiatives, accessing new and passive potential talent.
Great. So I'm kind of curious, tell me a little bit about how you're reaching that untapped population, and also maybe what does that population look like as far as demographics?
It's really exciting. Some of the new audiences we're engaging. We are, in higher ed, a lot of our students are, females. Our average student is actually a female over the age of 30 working 2 or more jobs. So as we transition into the manufacturing space, it has been really interesting that about a third of our candidates are female. Again, as you're talking about these skilled trades and advanced manufacturing role, women are one of the trickiest populations to unlock. And so we think there's really something to creating access to the skilling necessary to really engage this population in a new way. We are also seeing that people that are applying for these Ready to Hire programs are looking to reskill, looking to get into a new industry. Maybe they have a little bit of background in some level of manufacturing or tinkering, but they don't have enough skills or enough confidence to enter this workforce. And so we found that, creating a little bit more access to these trainings give them the confidence to branch into not only a new job, but a new high-quality career path.
Great, fantastic. So you identify them, you find them. Tell me a little bit about what happens next. Once you've they raise their hand and say, okay, tell me more, walk me through the process.
Yeah, a lot of our students actually say, this is too good to be true, right? I didn't know that I could access this kind of information for free, right? What's in it? But we try to meet them where they're at. So we do a lot of the marketing on Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, and we really want to engage with an entirely new and passive population. So once we kind of get them through that process, we shoulder all of the marketing and advertising, so it's a nice lift for our corporate partners. And then we do info sessions. We do a lot of soft skills trainings for all of our candidates because we not only want them to have the technical skills to enter the workforce, but all of those kind of key support skills, right? Manufacturing 101, what is it like to be in a plant that might be hot and maybe a different environment. They're standing 12 hours a day. So we really want to give them exposure not only to the industry, right, but some of the more practical elements of it as well. We want these students to know that their education is going to actually pipeline them to not only a career, but a job within the next 3 to 4 months, right? That speed to paycheck piece is really important for our learners. And so we want to create access to the skills they need to make an impact right away, and then getting them in with that employer with that paid hands-on training really helps solidify those skills, give them the confidence to enter the workforce and be successful.
I love that speed to paycheck. It's so important for people. And wow, I mean, if they're doing this training, that tells me they're taking the initiative. They're doing this on their time, right? They're doing it on their time. And by the time they get to the employer, they've already demonstrated what do we call it? That stickiness.
Yeah, the stick-to-itness.
Yeah, stick-to-itness. I love that. I mean, that really does speak volumes because we hear so many times people, they get in and they're kind of overwhelmed and they have runners. Yeah. They're leaving before the first break or lunch, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, in my experience in manufacturing, that's often the case, right? If they can't find the right entrance, they don't know who their leader is, their manager, who they should sit with at lunch. These are kind of critical pieces. Yeah, and huge. Onboarding is done very differently depending on where you're at. And so we really want to create an environment of trust and success. We are building with our students through the 3 months that they train with us before they get referred over to the employer. But we also really want to make the employers successful, right? So sharing from our learned experiences, sharing best practices, ways they can help that transition process, because we know the first 30 days being at any employer, the first 30 days being with any employer is critical, right? If they can make it through that period, we know that the opportunity for long-term retention triples. Right. And so we really want to make sure that they feel the support not only from our Ready to Hire team, but from their new employer, right? And having the tools to be successful there.
So how long do you stay with that new employee once they get hired at that manufacturer?
Yeah, we have a student success advisor that will actually meet periodically with all of our hires. So at 30 days, 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. But they're always available. So they're just an additional resource, both for our corporate partners as well for our students. So again, creating kind of a three-sided platform and three-sided access to make sure that they have the tools, they have the support, and they see the career path, right? They see the opportunity that's available for them. We know that careers in manufacturing can be game changers, that they can get people into that first home, they can get them into that stability, which is so crucial, right? And so unlocking that for students is amazing. And for our employer partners, thinking about workforce development in a new way is going to be critical to staying ahead of the curve. We know the cost of new talent can be really expensive, but so can the cost of retention, burnout, right? These are some of the critical pieces. And we know if they're investing now in the local workforces with the new populations, they're just going to be ahead of their competition. Wow,
that is just such great. I love hearing that. It gets me so excited. That is wonderful. One last thing, and I know we've talked about this before. Sometimes people have that misconception that maybe you mentioned a lot of women coming in that, were they all coming from like a Taco Bell or a hotel? Where were you seeing it? Because I would have thought that they were coming from maybe retail or, fast food, but was that really the case?
It's not the case. We do see some people that have limited to no hands-on experience. However, a lot of the candidates that we've been seeing for our manufacturing pipelines, they've been truck drivers, they're working in different manufacturing environments, looking for a change of pace, looking for an employer that can really meet their needs a little bit better than the ones they're with today. So these candidates are looking for the big picture, right? They want to see that there's not only the salary, but there's the support there. They have the benefits, the paid time off, flexibility when it's available. Things like that are really important, especially as you're looking into the Gen Z workforce. But we're often tapping into a population that has experience, right? They have been in the workforce for 20 plus years. And so they're looking for new opportunities that excite them, that really lay out that career path and opportunity in a way that their current employer is not. So whether that's, line work or, driving a truck, stay-at-home parent maybe, right? All of these skills, we're really looking for high potential candidates, not the ones that already have the skills. Because to your earlier point, we want those candidates that have the hunger and the hustle, right? We believe that you can't train that into a person. They either have it or they don't. But we can skill them up. We can get them the training necessary to make an impact in the workforce.
I love it. You're right. Hunger, I love that. That is so true.
Yep.
We want that. And that's what manufacturing, passionate people. That's what I love about manufacturing. And, I just can't thank you enough. We're excited with this partnership. We think this is going to really help make a difference with manufacturing. So thank you for joining us at SME Insights to talk about our partnership with Cengage.
Thank you.